So when I was asked to be Artist of the Month, I thought the May Flowers in Bloom was a perfect show for me to kind of be featured here, and I really appreciate the privilege. The work I have here is a combination of some pieces that I had started a few years back, and were in the studio and needed a little bit more finishing, and then some newer pieces. Flowers for me have a real sense of connection because they always bring back memories. There's something about them that just grab your senses, and I think that when you have a sense, it creates connection. So these two pieces here are actually an older piece that I had started, and then this piece here is a newer one. And poppies have a real sense of connection to my dad. He used to grow the most beautiful poppies. So this was really, piece here was in memory of my father, who's now passed away, and just love that he had that passion of growing flowers because it definitely had an influence in my artwork.
Yeah.
In this piece here, I was recently in Savannah, Georgia with my daughter, and I always kind of leave things up to, a little bit up to fate. Plan things, but then just like to wander, and we were wandering around the streets of Savannah, and there was one large canvas painting outside, and I said, oh, I need to just go check that out. So we walked up, and it was in front of a beautiful gallery of this artist named Tiffany Taylor, and she went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and that was really the reason we were in Savannah. My daughter was thinking about going there.
Oh, wow.
And she inspired some new pieces for me to do. Oftentimes I'll collage and use words, and I've taken classes, and I continue to take classes with other artists that I really are inspired by. And her art was just full of flowers, had collage, kind of some drippy paint. So it really inspired this piece, Faith, here, for me to kind of go back to what I love with poppies and then do something new with it.
And how do you come up with faith? How do you see that, and or is it just an instinct?
You know, I guess a lot of the words that I use, it comes from an experience, and right now this is faith with myself. As I said, my daughter is going off to college. We just finally did make the decision where she made the decision where she'd be going. That we don't always know how things are going to happen, and the things that are usually the most important aren't planned out. And it takes faith, and I have a strong faith. So this is kind of part of it. I actually, the last couple months, was in a real kind of painter's block and really a little bit worried about it. I'm like, oh, I'm having a little bit of a struggle here. I had lots of different pieces that weren't finished and thinking like, all right, just kind of give it patience, give it faith. And the name, faith came with all of a sudden this past week, actually, I had a break in classes because it was school vacation. And I started painting, and really this word faith, because all of a sudden, like, it came together. So that's amazing. That's where faith comes from.
Timing is amazing.
And so oftentimes I use things with wings in my artwork. I'm not sure what the connection is. I think part of it is wings offer us kind of inspiration to go a little bit higher and into new places that we don't know. So I do a lot of birds. I think this show I only have one bird painting, but if you were to walk into my studio, there are definitely birds to be found in lots of different places. And people often ask, why birds? And I don't really, at first I didn't really know. I know when I opened my business, Creative Spirit Art, the creative spirit really came from the place of within myself, that's where I create from. And it's not always necessarily from knowing, which also ties back to faith. And then as I was doing more and more with birds, symbolism is really important, and I realized that birds really are a symbol of our spirits. Oftentimes you'll see them depicted in work as, a form of spirit. So that's a little bit about this piece. And this piece here, I've painted large before, but oftentimes being a business owner, I try to kind of make my artwork a little bit smaller so it's affordable. Larger pieces can get a little bit pricier. But I love the freedom that comes with working big. And one of my most favorite artists was Georgia O'Keeffe and what she did with her flowers. So this piece really, blowing up flowers and kind of making them large scale. Really fun to work with the colors. And of course, somehow the wings tie in there too.
The dripping of the...
Yes. so that's a little bit about that piece.
Beautiful.
And
the statement it makes, like you walk into a room and you can't miss, that's a statement.
It really is. There's something, it's pretty bold. Oftentimes I look at the colors, they're a little bit brighter than I would use typically in my home, but they do tend to just kind of merge and blend. But it is a piece that when you look at it, it's going to stand out. Like, so against a great white wall, it's perfect. And it just adds a little bit of life.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank
Definitely.
you. Thank you.
All right.
So
some smaller pieces.
So some smaller pieces. I have a real love of gardening. So this piece here with a butterfly and lots of flowers. Really happy to be creating in the wintertime, working with flowers. And even this time, because we're not having too many flowers out in our gardens yet.
We're not.
Have a few daffodils starting to pop through. So in the wintertime, I really love using flowers because it kind of gives me that sense of connection to what inspires me. And this piece here it's kind of a little bit different. It's a little bit more subdued. I'm working sometimes with bright colors, sometimes with contrast of dark and light. And I wanted to try something a little bit softer. My artwork really is very expressive of feelings and of moods. So this is a little bit about that piece here. And then this life is a gift of nature. This kind of combines it all, the fun words, the sheet music. I love pattern, design, color. So using paper to collage in the background, and then painting on top of it. It's got lots of layers, and that's kind of the give and take of life, lots of layers that go on. And also, as we were talking before about, when you're doing something, it doesn't always work out, and the great thing about how I paint and collage is if something doesn't work out, you can layer something on top and then just keep going with it. So this definitely is a piece that has all those layers and kind of working in and out. So really representative of life. And this piece here, hope. We all need hope to keep going, and really, symbolism here with just the one butterfly kind of going off, and lots of things going on in my life right now with my daughter going off to school and transition, and it's going to give me time to do more with my artwork. So I'm just really hopeful for wonderful things and being able to explore new venues and keep sharing my work and hopefully growing it so it can reach many people and bring some inspiration to the world.
Absolutely. It's impossible for it not to. So, well, thank you so much.
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And Caryn's work will be here, featured all month for the month of May. So definitely stop in and check it out.